On Monday, I had the opportunity to go across the Pattullo Bridge one last time. As you know, the Pattullo Bridge is closing. They're going to take it apart soon. But a new bridge has been built, the Pattullo Bridge. And it was a wonderful opportunity to walk across that bridge on Monday morning. Maybe some of you had the chance to do it. It was really quite interesting to do. If you didn't, it's too late now. It's closed. I'm sorry. But walking across that bridge was very interesting because a lot of people had written kind of messages for the bridge in chalk. Some of them were kind of funny, R.I.P. Pattullo Bridge, things like that. Others, thank you, Pattullo Bridge, for your service. Others, a heart, and we will miss you. Still, someone else put flowers there for some reason as well for the bridge. And of course, it can feel a bit nostalgic when this bridge, this kind of path that we had from New West into Surrey is closing. I saw someone on television saying they remembered all the times they went across that bridge to go visit family members, relatives, some of whom who have since passed away. So of course there's an attachment to this bridge and maybe a hesitation to take that new bridge, that new path. In the midst of the nostalgia, however, we can forget that we did need a new bridge. So as many of you will know, trying to drive across that bridge could be rather perilous. Maybe some of you had your mirrors clipped off by the trucks passing by, or some of you might remember that there was netting below the bridge to catch, yes, the concrete that would fall from the bottom to the cars below if they were not careful. So although we might want to hold on to that bridge, we need a new path across, a new way forward. Ash Wednesday, really as we begin Lent, is an opportunity for us to leave one bridge behind and take another bridge, to leave one path or different paths behind that we might cling to, that might be familiar to us, but to take a new bridge, a new path forward that is more life-giving, that brings us more hope, that brings us new joy. It can be difficult when we need to change. We can, all of us, I know myself, get into different habits, ways of behavior, different ways of acting in relationships that we too, like the Pattullo Bridge, might be clinging to. They're familiar to us. Maybe they've served a purpose for a while, but we know also that we need to leave them behind. We know ways that we should be changing in our life. We know that God is calling us, yes, to a new bridge, a new way of life that is ultimately better for us, but can be quite difficult. Lent is all about identifying those paths that are not life-giving and choosing a new direction. And Jesus in the gospel today focuses on different ways for us to consider this, ways we can deepen our relationship with God in prayer, ways that we give alms, which really represents the way that we are charitable to other people, the way that we fast, not just from food, but things maybe in our life that are not so helpful or maybe even harm us. And Jesus is very clear to emphasize that when we do these things, really our heart is what is most important, that we pursue integrity, authenticity, that we do these things really motivated by love of God and love of neighbor. Lent then is an opportunity for us to choose new paths forward. Lent really is a moment of hope. It is a season of hope for us, and I think we can lose sight of this. I know when I was younger, I'd always kind of dread Lent. I need to give something up. It's difficult. You leave things behind. It can seem like a strange season. We put ashes on our forehead. Why would we do this? But the older I get, the more kind of one truth or reality strikes home to me. Change is difficult. It's difficult for me. I think it's difficult for all of us. We can be aware of ways we need to change, habits to leave behind. We can know the new paths, the new bridges Jesus is calling us to do, but it can be hard to change. And therefore, Lent is a blessed season. It's a time where we as a community focus on how we are called to change, and we trust ultimately that Jesus will help us to change. We cannot change on our own. God's grace and strength is there to assist us. And really the ashes that we will apply in a few short moments are symbolic of this, a real sign of the way God strengthens us to change, of leaving the old behind and pursuing the new. The ashes that we use today are, of course, taken from palms that were distributed on Palm Sunday, which have served their purpose. We use those palms. We wave them as a reminder of Christ entering Jerusalem. But those palms eventually died. They had run their course. And now we burn those palms and we use them as ash. Ash, although it might seem not to be the case, is actually a symbol of new life. We can consider, for example, forest fires. Of course, in our province now, sadly, many forest fires are humanly caused, but they were a part of the usual cycle of life. At times there would be lightning, there'd be a forest fire. And after the forest fire, you look, and it looks just quiet. There's devastation. It seems lifeless. But that ash, that burning of the forest, is a way that the nutrients return to the ground, that new life can blossom and grow. Ashes, then, are this perfect symbol of leaving the old behind and pursuing what is new. And ultimately, that trust that Jesus will be there to help us, to guide us, to give us the strength to change. Change is hard. Leaving old paths, old bridges behind are difficult. Pursuing the new, taking those new pathways forward is hard to do. But today we get that strength and really that grace, this privilege really, to make that change together. Like all changes, especially those that are hard, perhaps the most important thing is just the first step. And that's what we're here to do today. Today, we're here to take that new step, that first step across that new bridge. And we remember always that we do this together. We gather as a community, joined by Christ, called to change, but we trust that Jesus will give us that strength to grow.